To How Good's Footy in Asia Podcast, Episode 3. I'm your co-host today, Matty Gale, from Osaka Dingoes, based in Japan. And also joining me is Bill Krang, the Vietnam Swans former captain. And our special guest today is one young Jack Ahearn from the Bali Geckos. Thanks for joining us, Jack.
Cool. Thanks, mate. Thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
How's the weather over in Bali, mate?
Bit cloudy at the moment, actually.
Good.
We've been getting rain every day. Pretty much every night we get a bit of rain.
Is this rainy season now?
We didn't really get a wet season sort of last year, so it's sort of coming a bit late. It's very unusual. Normally it's pretty hot, and like it was raining this morning. It's a bit cloudy at the moment. It's stopped now.
Yeah, June's normally the rainy season starts here in Japan, and I really do not like it at all. Bill, talking to Kero during the week, they called off the training in Hanoi last week. They've got a new rule in the Vietnam Swans, no training over 35 degrees. How's things over your way?
I think we probably need a similar rule. It's been stinking hot last couple of weeks. I don't think they'll be counting the session though. They're just getting to the beer hall about 45 minutes earlier up there.
Fair enough.
Sorry, Jack. Thanks a lot for joining us today. I'm super excited to have you on board. You've got some great stories to tell, and really excited about what you're doing this weekend. If we could go right back, you growing up, you're obviously an avid footballer and a bit of a cricketer. We hear playing with Josh Felipe, who's had a breakout year with the Sydney Stars in the Big Bash League. Tell us about your sporting life as a kid.
Yeah, cool. Basically, like any sort of youngster in Oz, I play cricket in the summer, footy in the winter. Parents are both animated West Coast supporters and Australian cricket supporters, and basically from the minute I could hold a bat, kick a footy, I was doing that. And I'd break windows in the neighbours' driveways, and play 15 hours a week on the weekend in cricket, and then go down to the nets and bat with this guy from across the road for about 3 hours every Sunday. Then we'd roll into footy, same thing, just footy all year. I remember watching Josh play when we were younger, I think about 14 or 15, and you could just tell the bloke he was one of those players who just dominated. He was a lot smaller than everyone, and he just dominated, and it's no surprise to what he's doing now. And I think he's a pretty good chance to be in the Australian ODI World Cup squad in 2023 for sure.
Just on that, Jackson, Josh Philippe received an IPL contract that he was drafted in through the auction. How much did he go for?
I reckon he went for, I don't know, maybe it was like 40 grand. It was a low-end contract, I think. I can't remember. Either way, it'd be amazing, I'm sure. I'm pretty stoked for him.
Yeah, let's just move along to yourself now. There's a lot of Australians being wiped out in communities throughout Australia through the ice epidemic that's happening right across Australia. You got mixed up with the wrong crowd at the age of 14, and throughout that time until you're 17, you had an ice addiction. How difficult and how horrific was that for you and your family? But more importantly, how did you come out the other side of it and end up in a drug rehabilitation centre in Bali?
Yeah, cool. So basically, like I said, sport was my life, and I just lived it and breathed it. I'm the biggest nuffy for AFL, cricket, tennis. You name a sport, and I love it. And if you'd asked my mum when I was maybe 12 or 13, she would have said that he's going to captain Australia and play for West Coast at the same time. And, that could have been maybe a chance, but it didn't eventuate. And I think I just fell into the wrong crowd and didn't really know what I was doing. And, in a matter of months, my life had spiraled out of control. I remember being 15 or 16, having my parents sit me down and going, what are you doing, mate? You ask what it was like for them, and I could never imagine. To this day, I still can't imagine what they went through. I can assume, but I can't as well. Like, you know, I was distant and not their son for the best bit of 4 years, you know, and as a result, like I stopped footy, I stopped cricket. You know, I went from playing district cricket to playing C grade club cricket. I stopped playing footy, and pretty much it just removed everything in my life of any value. And and I was all right with that, which is the crazy thing about it, you know. And like it's like I was never played footy, right? And how it all basically like it's so powerful, you know. It's it's something that you can't fully understand unless you've been in it, and it's so powerful that it wipes all morals and basically in the start of 2016, like I just got tired of what I was doing, and you know, like there was a lot of pain. Like there was some real dark times in those 3 years, as you can imagine, like really, really, really dark times personally. And I remember it was April 22nd, 2016. It was decided, me and my mum, to send us off to a rehab. You know, they'd wanted me to go for a few years, but it wasn't going to work unless I was open and okay with it. And you know, I live in Perth. It's easier to fly to Bali than it is to go to Melbourne. There's not treatment easily accessible in Western Australia, which is unfortunate. And you know, within nine days, I was on a plane over to Bali. But I was delusional about what that meant. I had no idea what that meant, really, to be honest.
Yeah. How long did you spend in the drug rehabilitation program once you made it to Bali?
So the original plan was to go for 2 months, right? And like I spent my 18th birthday in a rehab, which is not how, you know, you plan to spend it. And the original plan, we family paid up for 2 months, and I was going to fly back 3 days after my 18th birthday. And I think after being there for 10 days, I realised that like 2 months isn't enough. And I ended up spending pretty much in the program. I was there for 6 months, but basically I was in there for 9 months to a year. And it was rough. Like it was rough. There's some luxury rehabs here in Asia, and one wasn't like that. It was rough, and it was simple, and it was basic, but you know, like I never want to have to experience that again. It works, but I'd only want to do it once. And yeah.
All right. We'll touch on life after the rehabilitation centre and your involvement with the Bali Geckos a little bit later on. Just while on the subject of rehabilitation centres, you now work for that rehabilitation centre, and you've got some counselling qualifications as well, which I can see you going down a career path if you wanted to. What sort of advice would you give to an average Joe Blow walking down the street with an ice addiction, or even someone like a Dean Laidley, who was the bench coach of the Indonesian Volcanoes' successful 2018 Asian Champs campaign? What sort of advice would you give them, someone who's seeking help or needs help?
The biggest thing about it all is that like people who don't know anything about it think that it's like a choice, that they're choosing to, you know, do this stuff, to do crime, to sell drugs, to lie, to do all those kind of behaviours that come with like alcoholism and drug addiction. And but that's not the case, you know, and most people don't have like control. Like I did that and I wasn't even aware of doing it, you know. It's just becomes the default behaviour that you kind of do. And you know, it's about understanding that some people are sick and they just need help, and then it's about getting the right help, and about people, like for me, getting help was meeting people who'd been through the same thing. So I've been to drug psychiatrists and psychologists, but they weren't addicts, so I didn't get that identification and understanding. So it's about, you know, if you have mental health issues, getting help from someone who has some experience, not just book knowledge. Like that's been my biggest aid, and that's what the whole industry is about. I personally don't think that it can really work without that sort of one addict, alcoholic helping another kind of system.
Jack, thank you so much for sharing that. It is an absolutely incredible story. And the last few days, I've become more and more aware of it, and I'm so thankful that you can share that and help a lot of people. You may not know, but here at the Swans, one of the centerpieces of our club, one of our best mates, actually he passed 6 years ago from an overdose. And what was most what we were scratching our heads about as a footy club and really rattled us, aside from losing our great mate, was that we didn't know. We saw some behavioural changes, but none of us connected the dots. And then the next thing that we just couldn't get to terms with, and still probably haven't 6 years later, was that we didn't know what to do. And to be honest, if we had an inkling of the same thing happening again, we don't know what we would do again. Would you have any advice for people on the other side of the fence looking in? I guess it's family as well, mates, and obviously we come at it from a footy club environment. But if you were to feel that sort of, how would we look for signs, and what could we do to try and cut it off before get it back to your sort of outcome?
Yeah, sorry about that. I didn't know about that story. I guess the biggest thing that I noticed, obviously, if you know someone, you know how they act in a certain manner, and when that changes, there's generally a reason, whether that's stress or whatever it might be. And the biggest thing is just letting people know that it's all right to have a chat. There's a lot of stigma in the modern world about talking about your feelings, talking about what's going on, and open, honest conversations, especially in footy clubs. And it's just, I think it's important for everyone to have sort of one or two go-to people, where they can just say, hey, mate, I'm struggling with this, and there's no judgment and there's no sort of telling them what to do. Just to have someone to listen to and maybe direct them another way.
Yeah.
Just on that, Jack, just thank you very much. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences. It must be pretty tough, but we just hope that Relatable and others can assist other people. But more importantly, I hope that's a part of the healing process for you as well. And just on that, men's mental health is something that I'm really passionate about, men's mental health and well-being. Having someone that's survived suicide, I think it's really important for us to provide a network of opportunity for expats that live in Asia. We all go through struggles, and as the old Paul Halliday spoke about in his podcast only a couple of weeks ago, it's really important to reach out to each other, particularly during these times, during the COVID-19, where some of us have lost our work, or we've been, the pause button's been put on hold and the footy stopped, which is a real lifeline for us that live in Asia. So thank you very much for sharing, and some real positive stories that have come out of under a diabolical situation in your life. And thankfully that phase has passed and you've moved on to bigger and brighter things. So we'll get that back on track with Bill now.
Yeah. Thanks. I guess from my end also, plenty of love from the live audience as well. Paul Halliday's jumped in, Grant Dooley, Caroline Bottrell, and Hui. Everybody's it's an incredible story, and thanks for having the courage to share it with us. Moving on a little bit and getting to more of the lighter things that we normally chat about. The Geckos are becoming a bigger and bigger part of your evolving story. Can you tell us how you came to the footy club? How did you discover the club, and how were your early days?
Yeah, cool. So I was in the rehab. I was it was like a little 2-story house, and I'd walk around the facility bouncing a footy. Then my parents brought me over. So I'd just sort of walk around bouncing a footy, and I had a West Coast jumper on my little wardrobe in my little dorm sort of thing. And I was still in the rehab program, but in like a secondary kind of thing. And I just heard sort of rumours that there was a footy club, and it was just, you start Googling footy in Bali, etc. And I found Bali Geckos and shot them a Facebook message and said, "Hey boys, you kick a footy once a week or something?" And they're like, "Yeah, mate, come down." I think that was Hinchy who I was talking to then, and I went down to the training the next week, and I was blown away. I didn't expect there to be 20 blokes. I didn't expect to be a proper training. I didn't realise how unfit I was, and I was blown away. I seriously was blown away. I couldn't believe it.
Okay, welcome back to part 2 of the How Good's Footy in Asia, episode 3, part 2, with Jack Ahearn. So sorry about the technical difficulties there. Something wrong with the StreamYard and Facebook not willing to play the part in our interview. So welcome back, Jack. We'll just go back to the question which we think you were finished up on, which is about your involvement with the Bali Geckos. So at the age of 16, we still believe that you're in the Drug Rehabilitation Centre. You've gone out and you've won your first tournament, which happened to be Division 2 2016 in Vietnam, and then fronted up again in the Philippines in 2017, a bit more fresh face and a bit fitter. And you've won the Division 2 again with the Bali Masters. So that's your first All-Asian Teams honours. And then again, the Jakarta Bintangs and the Bali Geckos team up together in 2018 and become a powerhouse. And in the inaugural teaming up in that merged era, you take out the title in 2018 and All-Asian honours in your lap again, well deserved. And then again this year, last year, 2019, didn't quite hit the heights that were expected and achieved in 2018 and didn't get quite to the grand final in 2019, but another All-Asian honour and well deserved from you. I thought you were one of the best players of the tournament last year. But not only that, you're the 2-time reigning Bali Geckos Premiership, best and fairest, but also you were announced as and appointed as the Bali Geckos captain last year at the tender age, I think, of 20 or 21. So fantastic and a lot of honour in those achievements that you've come across. What do you put it down to? Is it a matter of making up for lost time in your youth? Is it really thriving under the influence of Rick Ollerenshaw and the professional environment he's created at the Bali Geckos, or is it just regaining that love and passion for the game and renewing your fitness levels as well?
Yeah, I think it's a combination. Like the first champs in 2016, I was actually still in rehab. So Hinchy had to actually ring up the boss at the rehab and say, "Hey, is it all good if I bring this?" I think I was 18 at the time, this 18-year-old over on a footy trip. I think I was 4 or 5 months into the program, and they're like, "Cool, go for it." And I reckon I had 4 kicks in the whole camps that day, and I would have smoked about 50 to 60 cigarettes in that 24 hours. So to say that the commitment and professionalism was there, it would be a lie. But it was cool to win, to be a part of it. Like, I'd just come out of rehab and then to there. And then, like you said, it's been a pretty good couple of years after that. But the thing, what not everyone would have known is actually 2 to 3 months before the Manila champs, if everyone knows Pothole, our gun player who can fill the gaps on the field. He fills all the gaps that we need. That's why we call him Pothole. He actually stood on my ankle in a ruck contest about 3 months before the Manila champs. And I don't know how I played, to be honest. I think I went to training a week or 2 before we flew, and Rick's like, "Mate, you got no chance of playing." Like, I couldn't even run. And I didn't play the whole day up until the grand final, basically. But seriously, a week before that champs, I couldn't run. And like you said, mostly it's about just finding passion for the game again and like, just channeling. Like, I've got a lot of energy and like just channeling everything towards trying to be better. Rick's wonderful to the club, and he's been wonderful to me. He's been a great mentor since I came to the club. He's my surfing buddy, and yeah, it's I've got a good passion to improve, and you know, it's just been really fun to have a little bit of success along the way as well.
Yeah, we'll touch more about your relationship with Rick in a little while. Just looking back, I remember umpiring, or being a part of the umpiring unit that umpired the 2017 Division 2 Grand Final. I think it was against the Indochina Bulldogs, and you basically had the ball in the second half. And I think maybe from an outsider point of view, but that's when I thought that Jack Ahearn had really arrived in Asian footy and, just dominated single-handedly, particularly the second half. And then you stepped up to Division 1, and that was a really seamless transition for you in the Malaysia Asian Champs 2018. But I guess 2019 was a real breakthrough. You played in a really strong all-ball unit in 2018, and everything was going in that one motion. It was a huge year for the Indonesian Volcanoes. But last year, you single-handedly led the on-ball division for the Indonesian Volcanoes, and I think you were pretty close to Sam Agars as the best Division 1 player at last year's Asian Champs, and it just keep on going further and further in your footy. Can you put it down to anything, or is it just a natural progression and getting into better positioning? And also, you play really above your height. You've got natural speed, huge endurance, massive tank, but you can play above your head, and you can play as a ruckman if you needed to as well. Got a lot of strings to your bow.
I appreciate all the nice words. It makes me feel a bit uncomfortable, actually. I don't know. The 2018 one was cool because we had Dean Laidley. He was involved with us in the month or two leading up, and I got introduced to him via Rick in the start of the year. And we've been in contact through that year, 2018, and then I got to spend a bit of time with him, picking his brain and him picking mine before that champs, and that did help a lot. Like, it really did, and just the combination of him and Rick that year helped a lot of that. And like 2019 was overall, it was just really disappointing. We thought we should have won. As a team, we were just a bit slow, and we didn't utilise our opportunities. It was okay for me to play all right, but it left a bit of a sour taste at the end of the day, because I still believe that we were the better team. We just didn't play as a better team that day.
Jack, the Geckos, especially Rick, I imagine, love to send shutters through Asian footy with Facebook photos of potential newly landed stars for the upcoming champs. So you've had the chance to train with some of the absolute rock stars of our game back in Australia, Dusty and so forth. Can you run through some of the people who have joined you for training, and how is it to have those sort of guys in an Asian footy environment on the training track with your club?
Yeah, we're pretty lucky. We take it. I think we take it for advantage sometimes. I think when I first came to the club, we had 2/3 of the Essendon team train with us at one stage. We had a scratch match with about 10 of them, which is pretty cool. And then I guess the ones you remember is Dusty coming down in January and starting our pre-season way before everyone was ready. And just I don't know, we just get spoiled, and it's thanks to Rick, and I think we've just had some guns, really. Like last year, every player that came and trained with us actually had a shocking year. We had Max Gawn come down, he had a shocking year. Dusty had a slow start to the year. Jordan Agoe's got in trouble again. He's trained with us. He'll probably stay away, I reckon.
Just moving on to Rick, we know he's a really important figure in your life, and just talking to him earlier today, he sees you as one of his family members. His kids love you and basically part of the furniture there at home. How influential and how important has Rick's support been in you transforming your life to where you are now?
When I first met him, I didn't actually know who he was, because he played before I was born. And someone said he played AFL and he was a commentator, and I didn't know that. But he's been good. He's been great. I lived with him at one stage when I busted my ankle, like I told you about. But I ended up leaving when he had an argument with his wife, and I got a bit scared. But he's been fantastic. Like, we surf most days. He's just a mate. He pushes me. He's hard on me. I do love a cigarette, but I never have one in front of him because he'll yell at me. But he's just been good to help me progress, because we only train once a week and it's not super high intensity, but you know, I'd like to progress and maybe go play football again in Australia next year, or we'll plan this year, but maybe next year. And Rick's been a good aid in that.
Just in, like I've seen you train really hard just this year in preparation for a lot of different things, which we'll touch on a little bit later. But training with the guys like Dusty Martin and Aaron Norton, and they're doing these, you know, these fitness and they're running campaigns and preparedness for the 2020 season last year. Do you have this feeling like you could jump up to that next level if you were given the opportunity in the right environment?
I don't know, but I'd love to try. Like, that's the thing. Like, I just like pushing myself, which is why I'm doing what I'm going to be doing in the next couple of days. But like, I don't know, but I would love to try and just see, you know, where I can push my body to and my mind to, and what's possible, because I don't know what's possible, because I've already exceeded like everything that I thought I'd be able to do.
Yeah. Look, I've heard along the grapevine that some people, when you're out and about with Rick and the family, they believe that you're his biological son. Is there any truth in that?
Nah, mate. He'd switch lives with me if he could, I reckon. It's not uncommon that we're in the surf and they go, is that your dad? But we actually had a good one the other day, and I posted a photo of us, and someone messaged saying, is that your brother? So he was pretty stoked with that one.
Wow.
But in saying that, actually, in the Manila Champs, 10 people asked me if I was his son, and then in Kuala Lumpur, they thought I was his son ringing. No, mate.
How's the progress looking for local development in Bali, and how important do you see that for the game on the island going forward?
It's improved heaps. Like, when I first came down, we didn't really have any. There were a couple locals, but like over the last 3 years, we started getting more, and they seem to love it. And you know, like our footy club here, and I'm sure it's the same with you guys, is so much more than just training on a Wednesday night. Like, it's more the social side and the group of mates and all that kind of stuff. And they've really taken to it. And I think, if I'm correct, moving forward next year, there's going to be a lot more put into reaching out to schools and really introducing the game, sort of taking a leaf out of the bintang with how they do it.
That'll be great. Now, Maddie mentioned earlier, you know, wherever we are this year, 2020 has been a tough one. There's not many businesses that haven't been somewhat negatively impacted, and a lot have been devastated. But as we all know, we've all sort of holidayed on Bali, and we're quite aware of the island and that it literally is a holiday island. How is the impact on the ground, and how do you see it going forward? Because I know that travel is still not it's not a sure path back to normalness. Yeah, how is it over there?
Well, we obviously all know that it's a big tourist industry, and it's been pointed out to me in the last few weeks that actually like 80% of the economy is dependent on the tourism industry, which is a lot. Like, that's a lot. And
yeah,
it's quiet. Like, it's really quiet. Like, there is no one here. I stayed in Legian, which is, the people who don't know, the most touristy spot in the whole island on the weekend. I couldn't even get a coffee in the morning because everything was shut. 9 a.m. to get them. It's not like that in every area, but from a tourism industry point and all that kind of stuff, there's no one here, and we don't plan on anyone being here in the near future, really.
How do you see people surviving the Balinese?
It's rough. Like, some people have the ability to go back to the villages and to their homes and stuff, but not everyone has that problem. And like, I live near a food bank. It's about 200 meters from here. I drive past every day, and there's 30 people, 40 people lining up just to get some food. So to be honest, it's even hard to comprehend how many people must be going without a meal at the moment.
In saying that, Jack, you've teamed up with the Scholars of Sustenance in Bali there. and you're about to embark on one of the most challenging and grueling running challenges known to mankind. Can you let us know a little bit what their program is and the running challenge you're about to embark on?
Yeah, so they're called SOS, Scholars of Sustenance. They've got a company based in Indonesia, one based in Thailand, and one in the US. They've been operating in Bali since before Corona. So what they would do before Corona is they would get meals and food from restaurants and hotels, and they would distribute it to the communities that require it most out in the rural areas of Bali. So I think they've been operating in Bali for 3 years now. But obviously since coronavirus, they're just inundated with requests and they're just battling to try and do the best that they can with what they have. And so I have decided to partner with them to raise a bit of money. So how it all sort of started about 6 months ago, I saw this running challenge. I couldn't do it because of work and footy and didn't have the time, and I couldn't risk an injury at that time. But obviously now I've got lots of time and no commitments. So I'm going to be running a really long way starting tomorrow, trying to raise as much money as I can.
Okay, how does the challenge work? How much running do you have to do in certain periods over that 48 hours that you intend on going to do it?
So starting from 4 p.m. tomorrow, every 4 hours, I'm going to run 6.5 kilometres. So it's called 4-4-48, meaning 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours. So I start my run at 4 p.m. If it takes me 40 minutes, I finish at 4:40. I've got 3 hours and 20 minutes before I run again and again and again. 8 p.m, midnight, 4 a.m, 8 a.m, 12 p.m, 4 p.m, 8 p.m, midnight, etc. until midday on the Sunday. So I'll run a total of 12 6.5 kilometre loops, and it'll total at 78 kilometres.
Wow. And how's the fundraising going so far?
Funny, I said to the charity when I met with them, I said, hey, like, I'd be happy if I could raise $500. And they were like, oh, I think you'll do a bit better than that. Oh, I don't know. I think right as we speak, we're at about $7,500. Somewhere around pretty close to $8,000 raised. Which is the goal now has become $10,000, which is absolutely incredible. $10,000 creates 40,000 individual meals. So we're pretty close. I think we should get that. We should get pretty close to that. And it's just sort of blown me away that how it's all happened.
So how can people help you push up towards that goal?
So there's a link, there's a video, there's a link shared by AFL Asia, shared by myself. You know, obviously not everyone can give, so not everyone has to give, but if you can, it's appreciated. $5 creates 20 meals, $10, 40 meals, etc. If people can't give, great to share the video, pass it on to someone. I see Ricky's mentioned that actually Stephen Baker donated $1,170 yesterday. I mean,
it's fantastic. I did watch the video, but off the top of my head, I'm not sure. What exactly, you've got a really great, I love when charities do this type of thing, a bang for buck type, what do you call it, equation. What does the money, what is a cup of coffee? I forget. In your video, you've explained it. Can you tell us what that money can, because it goes a long way.
Yeah, so I used the idea of an inner city Melbourne coffee's $5, and that if we sacrifice that one coffee, that's 20 meals.
Wow.
Or a nice drink on the foreshore in Scarborough, same thing, it's 20 meals.
Yep. And like you said, you know, the island's on its heels at the moment. And it's not something like the bombings where people still can come in. This is actually people can't get in. So there's no other means for a lot of these people to get their lives on track in the short term. So it's an incredible cause. Anybody in the AFL Asia community, jump on board. That $10,000 is well within reach, and it's a lot of coffees that people have foregone, but it's a hell of a lot more meals and lives that can get through this time because of it. Well done on your effort too. It's an incredible result.
You just got to run it now.
Yeah, well, that's right. You're not done yet.
Jack, you're saying earlier that the length of the running, the 78 kilometres, is the distance between the north and the south part of the island. Is that correct?
Yeah, so if you put in Lavina, which is in the north part, like at the top of the island, and you put it down to where I live in Umlash, near Canggu, Sevenyak, it's actually 78 kilometres exactly.
Wow. How just for the viewers out there trying to fathom, how's this guy going to do 6.5 kilometres every 4 hours, 48 hours? How do you plan on getting, enough food to keep your energy levels up and enough sleep to keep the energy banks going?
Well, I don't know. Like, there's no real way to plan for this. I'm in my head. I'm planning that after each run, I'm going to have an ice bath set up and jump in that. I'm going to do some stretching. I've just made about 1 kilo of pasta. I'm going to have a few kilos of chicken cooked, a few bowls of rice sitting ready, some fruit, and just kind of see how it goes, basically.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Just
for your information too, Jack, last weekend, one of the Vietnam Swans strongmen, who's a real Ironman, is Mitch Hyde. He actually completed the same challenge last weekend. So maybe we're seeking him out within the next 24 hours before you start, just to get a bit of a understanding and some insight into the challenges that you may face. But I'm sure Bill and I can set you up in a group here on Facebook.
Yep. Mitch did a lot of personal training for the Swans back in his time before he started gallivanting around the world. And he is actually someone who can really break down physical challenges in an incredible way. He is an Ironman, but he can actually humanize it even for people like me. Back in the day, he was a great help when we had him on the ground here. So yeah, if you want to have a chat to him, put you in touch.
Might as well.
Yeah. Yep. Maybe halfway through, he can start letting you know what to do next.
Yeah.
Now we just got to to one of the most important phases of every How Good is Footy in Asia podcast, and that's our tribal sport friendly fiery round. Tribal sport is AFL Asia's preferred apparel provider, and we thank Big David Lake and the team there at Tribal Sport based in Queensland for all their support they've given us over the last 2 or 3 years. Without further ado, we'll get Billy Bang Bang Krang put out the spot fires, Bill, for the Tribal Sport friendly fiery round.
Righto, Jack. So run us through what footy clubs have you played for in your life?
Sereno Duncraig, Warwick Greenwood, Subiaco Football Club, Bali Geckos, Jakarta Bintangs, Indonesian Volcanoes.
Nice. What's your favourite position?
In the middle.
Yep. What's your favourite number?
9.
Who's your AFL team? You mentioned West Coast before.
Biggest West Coast fan there is.
Yeah. Okay. This is a bit of a trick question because arguably it doesn't quite work on you. But best player in AFL Asia?
If you'd ask everyone in the comp, they'd say it's Tyler Mitchell from the Bali Geckos, but I'm probably going to roll with, I don't know their names, but some of those PNG boys were unreal. I don't know their names, but a few of them.
Yep. Who's your best or favourite teammate?
Ooh, I'll get thrown under the bus with this one.
Look for the next one.
I guess I got to go Rick, really. No,
okay.
Ginchi.
Okay. Who's your most annoying teammate?
Adam Bilwani.
Most difficult opponents?
There's a guy from Singapore who's tagged me the last 3 times that we played them. I don't know his name, but I'm sure.
Is his name Branch Flog?
No, not him. I know him. Another one. He tags me every single time.
Yeah, okay. Apparently the Wombats have tried to trade Branch Log for you. Didn't get too far with the Indonesia or Bali management. What's your favourite meal?
Oh, steak. I don't mind Macca's though.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Tea or coffee?
Ooh, I'm a coffee lover, but Rick's got me on the teas lately, so I'm still coffee, but tea's coming up second.
Yeah, okay. What's your favourite holiday destination?
Oh, Flame Spa Bali.
Sauce in the fridge or the cupboard?
Pardon?
Sauce in the fridge or the cupboard?
Fridge.
Okay. What's your best footy trip?
Tayo was pretty fun, but we lost.
Funny that.
Fun levels, Pattaya, but best trip so far was Malaysia when we won by far.
Yeah, okay. You can invite any 4 people on the planet to a dinner party. Who would they be?
Miranda Kerr about 10 years ago. Probably Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Ricky Ponting. And Ben Cousins about 15 years ago, 10 years ago.
You could have given him some advice. What do you like most about playing footy in Asia?
It's not as serious, but it's still serious. There's a level of fun to it.
Yep. What would be 3 things people don't know about you?
Well, I guess it would say about addiction.
Yeah.
3 things that they don't know about me. I don't know. You have to get Rick to answer that one.
Pretty open.
Yeah, I don't know. I've covered a lot of it.
Yeah, you have been very open. What are you most looking forward to when normalcy returns to the world, whenever that may be?
Playing some footy in Oz. I was meant to do that. I was meant to do that this year, but flights booked and everything, but that fell to pieces. So hopefully next year.
Yep. That's it for the Tribal Talks questions, but I might roll straight into the peanut gallery questions. We've had plenty come through. Brad Dooley wants to know who's the angriest gecko and/or volcano that you've ever played with.
Adam Bilwani used to be angry. He kicked the bloke in the head in the first game I ever played. But Hinchy's one you don't want to get on the wrong side. I think we played Malaysia in 2017 and he went nuts. He went bonkers at one of the Malaysian blokes. And I think Hinchy'd be that one on his day.
Fair enough. Bryce James has asked, where is Chino and Chili?
So I'm actually looking after Bryce's villa at the moment, and they're his dog.
Right.
I don't know where they are. They might have run away or they're sitting. Oh, no, they're on the floor there asleep.
Okay. Bryce can rest easy. Dave O'Shea wants to know, is Flame still open?
Yeah, I think they opened yesterday, if I'm correct.
And our episode number 2 guest, Yoshi, wants to know, you mentioned some also ran AFL players like Dusty. Any of the players he cares about been down to a Geckos training? St Kilda players.
I guess Baker's been pretty involved with us.
Yep.
Pretty involved with us.
Ricky was quick to mention that Milne came down as well. May have been before your time, maybe not.
No, he did. He played in the Masters, actually. Yeah, he did last year.
Okay. Thanks to everyone from the outer for giving those questions. It's great to have everybody able to to watch this, but also to join in and give us some live feedback. Really adds to the engagement for us. Thank you very much.
Jack, just before we finish up, mate, is there any messages that you'd like to send out to anyone who's going to watch this now or later?
Nah, just to anyone who does watch it to get onto the video and chuck $5 in the donation thing if they can, and if they can't, to share it. That's where my mind's at the moment. And it's all really greatly appreciated. And thanks to you guys for having me on here.
No, not a problem, Jack. You've been an inspiration to not only us as the co-host, but to all of those people listening and watching today and in the future. Well, certainly, you should be really proud of yourself, and more importantly, really proud of what you're about to embark on. It's going to be a super challenge for you, and I'm sure you'll come out the other end, and it'll be another chapter in the fabric and the life of Jack Ahearn. So thanks very much for joining us. You've been an absolute inspiration and a superstar. So thanks for having us. Thanks for joining us.
It's been my pleasure.
Well done, Jack. Thanks for everything you've shared today. I didn't really know the details of your story, and I'm absolutely inspired. Can't wait to see more of it written as well as we watch you run past us on the footy field in years to come. So, and on TV back in Australia as you go into bigger and better things. Really, really, really impressed by your story, mate. Thanks for sharing it.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
And good luck for the weekend too.
Yeah, you're going to need it. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in to episode 3 of How Good's Footy in Asia, AFL Asia's official podcast. If there's anyone else that you'd like to hear from over the next few weeks, put their name in the comments section. We're keen to hear who you'd like to see us interview. This is growing from strength to strength. I think we've had over 3,500 views, Bill, over the last couple of
That's
podcasts.
True.
Correct?
Episode 1 and 2, yep.
And I think this one will go that combined. So thanks again, Jack. And thanks to all our listeners and our viewers. You're a massive part of the AFL Asia family. And thanks for joining us. Look forward to joining you again soon. That's bye for now. Thank you.